CloudDB, shaping your new normal.
Welcome everyone to the 2022 Apex Days by APAC OUC. This is our first year having a dedicated Apex event, and it's an honor and privilege to run this event with the support of the India Oracle Apex user group. Please remember to register to as many sessions as you can. This way you will be able to have access to all replays until April 20. So I would like to say thanks to all Oracle user groups and Java user groups that made this event possible. And also to our sponsors, the Oracle ACE community, the DevRel team, and our main sponsors, Oracle Corporation and CloudDB. Now for today's session, we have Getting Started with Maps and Spatial in Oracle Apex by Chaitanya. So feel free to write questions at any time during the session at the chat tab, and the live and we'll be answering them at the end of the session. If any issues during the presentation, please feel free to contact me anytime on the chat tab. This is a workshop session, and for all the workshops, all emails of the people registered were whitelisted within Oracle to allow them to access the Oracle Cloud free trial without requiring a credit card and with the extra options. Note that the emails whitelisted are the emails the users used to register for the event. So without any delay, I would like to leave you with this amazing workshop session by Chaitanya. So over to Chaitanya.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. Please do let me know if you are still seeing my screen.
Yes.
If you're not, just let me know. I might ask you when I turn on the browser sharing as well. So just let me know when I'm sharing it. Okay, so thank you so much. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you and thank you so much in advance for joining in for this workshop. Get started with maps and spatial in Oracle Apex. And first, I would like to thank Francisco, Richard, and APAC OUC for this great opportunity. And I'm really excited to be back here talking to you guys. So we have exciting workshops as well as presentations coming up the next 3 days. So my name is Chaitanya. I'm a product manager on the Oracle Apex product development team. And this is my 17th year at Oracle. And as a product manager, I think it's like more than 13 years or so with the Apex team. On my screen, you see my Twitter handle. So if you would like to know what's happening in the Oracle Apex world, feel free to follow me on Twitter. You can always connect me with on LinkedIn and any other social media channel. You can post questions about Apex, about Oracle Database or Oracle Autonomous Database and Apex Service and so forth. And in today's workshop, like I will be your instructor. I'll be the main instructor helping you out and walking you through with the instructions and guiding you through to the hands-on lab. And together with me are my team members, Roopesh and Apurva. They will be helping you out with any questions in the chat window. So if you are stuck at any point of time, whether it is a question related to the hands-on lab or Apex in general, please feel free to post them in the chat window. My team will be happy to answer you. So #Oracle Apex. So this is what we use in Twitter and rest of the social media. So if you get an opportunity to talk about this event and your feedback and other things about Apex, feel free to post them in social media. The first thing is, what do you need for this workshop? There are two things that are prerequisites to perform this workshop today. One is Oracle Cloud free trial, which you get from oracle.com/free. And then the next one is the hands-on lab guide, which is apex.oracle.com/go/maps-intro-lab. And I also have the QR code here for the benefit of those who want to just scan and get through into mobile or devices. So these two are very much necessary for us. As Richard was mentioning, For those of you who have already registered for the event until yesterday or so, your email accounts have already been whitelisted with Oracle. So you should be free to go ahead and then sign up for OCI, and then you will be able to get into proceed with the next steps of creating Apex service and so on. For those of you who haven't whitelisted yet, you have an option. You can go to apex.oracle.com. I'm sure pretty much most of the Apex users in the community have an account on apex.oracle.com. If you don't have one, please go ahead and then sign up for your workspace right away. And then that should do, you can perform your workshop on apex.oracle.com. So both would work fine. There is a slight difference with the versions that we have on apex.oracle.com and Oracle Cloud Free Tier. I will come to that later point of time, but anything would work. But I would highly recommend to go with the free cloud tab, because this is something which is going to stay with you forever, free forever. And if you cannot complete your hands-on lab today, you can go ahead and complete that later on as well. So go ahead, because I have a couple of slides to talk about, and it will take 2 to 3 minutes for you to get your account provision. So for those of you who haven't started yet, just go to oracle.com/free, enter the same email ID that you use to register for this event, and that should bypass you through the credit card page. So you don't need to submit any kind of credit card information or whatever. So it would allow you to bypass the step, and then you will be able to get an account on OCI. Plus additionally, you will get cloud credits for free for some time. So you can use your cloud credits not just to explore Apex or Autonomous Database, but you can also explore the rest of the Oracle Cloud. So please go ahead and then do that while I go through the next slides, and then that can keep running in. And then also have your apex.oracle.com/go/maps intro lab opened, so that you can go ahead with viewing the hands-on lab guide at a later point of time. Okay, so I think I will just turn off my camera now. Okay, all right, so let's go back. So please do let me know if you are not seeing my screen yet. So what are the objectives of today's workshop? In today's workshop, we'll understand what Apex map region is about, and we will understand Apex map region samples. So basically, we will install the sample maps application today, review that and use it. We also learn how to create and configure map region in Oracle Apex. And the third objective is how to incorporate location analysis with Oracle Spatial. So these are the three primary objectives that we would be covering in today's workshop. Before going ahead, I know most of you, the attendees who are here today, are already Apex users, or rather Apex developers, or have at least a decent knowledge of Oracle Apex. There might be a couple of you who are completely new to Apex. That's still fine, because this is getting started lab only. So it's completely fine for you, because you will understand at least one part of Apex, about maps and spatial today, and you can go and explore the rest of the Apex capabilities later. But let's first understand what Oracle Apex is all about. Apex is the world's most popular enterprise low-code application development platform. Well, it is a low-code development platform that enables you to build secure, scalable enterprise applications with world-class features that can be deployed anywhere. Like you can develop and deploy your applications on premises or on cloud, and you can move your applications back and forth between on-premises and cloud, and from cloud to on-premises, from one cloud to another cloud, and wherever your Oracle Apex and Oracle database runs. So in a sense, Apex is a low-code platform for enterprise applications, and Apex is Oracle's strategic low-code application development tool. Using Apex, you can quickly build and deploy compelling applications which solve real business problems and provide immediate value. So you don't need to be an expert in a vast array of technologies to deliver sophisticated solutions with Apex. You don't need to be learning a lot of other technologies, but your investment in SQL, PL/SQL, and Oracle database would do. Well, that doesn't mean that people without SQL, PL/SQL cannot use Apex. Apex is meant for citizen developers, pro developers as well. There are lots of wizards, built-in tools that help and make your developer life easy for you to build your applications quickly and easily, and also deploy them. So the main purpose of low-code application development with Apex is you do more with less. Apex allows you to focus on solving the business problem, and it takes care of the rest. So instead of spending lots of time in writing hundreds and thousands of lines of code, your focus would be on solving the business problem. And that's where Apex can help you to take care of the rest of the things. So Apex is a low-code platform from Oracle. And Apex runs everywhere your Oracle database runs. Whether you're running it on prem, whether you're running it on cloud, or you're running it on Oracle Cloud or third-party cloud, wherever your Oracle database runs, Apex runs there. And within Oracle Cloud, Apex is offered as Apex Service, which is also called as Apex Application Development, which is a standalone OCI service, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Service. I would say Apex Application Development or Apex Service is a low-cost, all-inclusive service. So when you sign up for Apex Service, what do you get? You get Apex, which is the world's most popular low-code application development platform, and along with the underlying Oracle Autonomous Database, the world's first converged database, on the world's best cloud infrastructure, Oracle Exadata Cloud Infrastructure. So with Apex Service, you get Apex plus Autonomous Database on Exadata Cloud Infrastructure, and in minutes, you can just get started with building your applications. So in today's workshop, you will be utilizing this Apex Service as a platform to build your application. And then, like I mentioned already, you can also use this forever. This is what we call as a free tier account. So this will be free forever. So tomorrow you might want to showcase this to your team, or maybe you can build applications for your own or for your neighborhood, or maybe to a team, you can happily use this free tier account. Well, what is Oracle Spatial? Because we are showcasing Apex and along with Spatial today. Spatial or Oracle Spatial is a set of geospatial data management, analysis, and processing capabilities within Oracle database. With a spatial data type and analysis operations, location-based analysis is mainstream and co-located with all other database operations. So this is offered along with your Autonomous Database. To learn more about Oracle Spatial, please view this particular URL, oracle.com/database/spatial, to understand more about the spatial technologies and how it can be best used in your applications. Now let's talk about the maps region in Oracle Apex. We introduced map region in Apex 21.1. Well, right now the version of Apex that we have is Apex 21.2. And in 2022, this year, we will be having releases, the first half and the second half of 2022 with other releases like 22.1 and 22.2 as well. Now, what you see on the cloud as of today is Oracle Apex 21.1 yet. We started upgrading the free tier accounts just 2-3 days ago. So some of the regions have 21.1 and some of the regions have 21.2 already. We'll come to that as we proceed with the workshop, but we introduced maps region in Apex 21.1. What exactly is this map component? The map component is native to Apex, and it allows you to add powerful, feature-rich, interactive maps to your Apex applications within minutes. Maps region provides the ability to configure interactive maps. So there is not just the static maps that you build, but your maps would be interactive by, you can display your spatial data from spatial, GeoJSON, and coordinates. In today's hands-on lab, we will be using the spatial data from Oracle Spatial. A maps region, the spatial support is extended to using spatial SQL functions, indexing, coordinate transformations, and much more. You can easily customize the look and feel of your maps in Apex. Like you can use the built-in color schemes, and you can select from a variety of built-in shapes and marker icons so to make your maps shine. So you can completely customize the look and feel. And you can create different, you can use different geometric objects with your maps. You can set layers for points, lines, polygons, 3D polygons, and heat maps. The next thing is we need to get into the workshop right now. So by now, I'm assuming that most of you would have gone through the OCI sign-in process. Like I mentioned, most of your accounts would be whitelisted with Oracle. So you could have bypassed the credit card information and you'd have already signed into OCI. If not, if you're not able to do that, then please feel free to sign up for a workspace on apex.oracle.com and you can perform your hands-on labs there. So get started with maps and spatial in Oracle Apex. That's the workshop that we'll be doing, and we already covered the objectives of it. But let me briefly introduce what exactly are the steps we would be doing today. You'll be signing up for Oracle free trial account, which is on cloud.oracle.com or oracle.com/free, which I'm sure you're going through. And then the primary step here is to create an Apex service. And then you create an Apex workspace. This is the environment that you're setting up for your hands-on lab. All right. So if you're unable to get your account on cloud, then you will be using apex.oracle.com. And this particular step is already done for you. That is, which is a workspace. If you already have one, you can use one. You can use the same workspace. There is no need to create a new one. But if you have a new one, that's fine too. And one more thing is, if you already have an Oracle Cloud free tier account, please feel free to use that. That's completely fine. You don't need to use the latest one. Then you will be installing the sample maps application in this workshop. We'll be creating a map with a wizard. You're creating a map from scratch and you'll incorporate spatial analysis. So this is the sign up page for Oracle free trial account for those of you who just joined. So this is the link, and over there is the QR code. My colleagues will also paste these things in the chat window for you. And this is the hands-on lab guide in the QR code for the same, apex.oracle.com/go/maps-intro-lab. So this is on the Live Labs platform, which we'll be using, which is again an Apex application. If you look at the apexapps.oracle.com, and it's an Apex app. Okay. So now I'm assuming that you already have this one. So you will be having a browser and with two tabs in parallel open, one for the workshop to perform and the second one for the hands-on lab guide to help you out. Okay, now I'm switching to the browser and just looking at if there are any questions so far. Awesome. So I think pretty much. So I might view the chat once in a while to see if there are any questions from the hands-on lab perspective, or my colleagues will also stop me if there is an issue, if I'm running fast or something like that. I would try to go as slow as possible, but do remember we have only the next 1 hour and 8 minutes time, I believe. So we need to focus on the lab now. So I'm switching on to my browser and I request one of my colleagues to confirm if they are looking this. Maybe Richard or Francisco or Roopesh. Do you see my browser, please?
Yes, Chaitanya, we can see your live lab screen.
And you also see my empty tab, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so the first thing, um, I'm hoping that all of you have got the Apex, the OCI account created already. So the first thing is, let us review the hands-on lab workshop. We already covered the objectives of why we are doing it. We already talked about the map region in Apex, and we also talked about spatial. So for additional information, you can go through this intro. As you see on the prerequisites here, Apex 21.1 plus is required, which is Apex 21.2, of course. We recommend Apex 21.2, but as I mentioned, most of the free tier accounts yet have 21.1 only. So this is what you see. We have instructions later to verify which version of Apex you are running. Okay, so I assume most of the places this is what it is, but there are a couple of regions that we have upgraded to 21.2 in the last 2 days or so. I think Osaka, Singapore, and Dubai, which are close to this region. So if you are in these regions, then probably you might have 21.2. So the instructions would vary slightly because the sample files that you would be grabbing would be different with 21.2 and 21.1. So please pay close attention to the instructions. And do remember that it is not mandatory for you to thoroughly follow me or follow me in parallel. The lab instructions are pretty much straightforward, and you can feel free to go through them and perform on your own. Should you have any questions in between, my team is there to help you out, and I will be demonstrating anyway side by side. Just wanting to, So experience with Apex is recommended, but it is not required, right? So for those of you who are very new to Apex, I think this would be a very good intro experience to understand, how to get started with Apex and how to sign up for Apex service, and also, go through creating an application and also creating pages and stuff like that. And rest of the folks, for people who are advanced and intermediate, I think this would be a great learning as well. Okay, so we have gone through the intro, and let me just now go through getting started. So this talks about signing for an Apex workspace. We already discussed about this. The 21.2 is recommended, but since Apex on cloud is 21.1 yet, so that is completely fine. I will be using 21.1, so my instructions would be the same. So that's fine. But if you are in Singapore or in using Osaka or Singapore or Dubai regions as your data centers, please check and verify which Apex version you have. Okay, so this shows how to find my Apex release version. We will come to this later, but before that, we need to get started with signing up for Apex service or provisioning Apex service. There are 3 options in this. Option 1 is highly recommended, but just in case, if you're not able to access cloud, if you're not signed up yet, or if you don't have your account whitelisted, then you can use option 3, which is apex.oracle.com. This is a pretty straightforward approach. So the first thing is you click this link to create your free account, which is oracle.com/free, and you get a $1 credit in your currency, local currency, that you can utilize to create an Apex service. When you sign up process for OCI is complete, then you will be logged in automatically to OCI console, or you should receive an email which will have your username and password and cloud account name. So you can just go to your email and look for instructions from there, and then you can sign in. If you already have an Oracle Cloud account, then just go to cloud.oracle.com, enter your cloud account name, and proceed with the next wizard steps like username and password. I already have an OCI account, so I'm going to cloud.oracle.com. So started my demo right now. I logged in, but let me just show you how do you do that for the benefit of those who are completely new. So I'm signing out from my cloud account, and when I first sign into OCI, it will ask my tenancy name. So I have given my tenancy name. Click continue, and it takes me to the single sign-on. In my case, you can click continue, and then I have my username and password entered already. So I have logged into OCI console. So this is the user interface that you see once you log into OCI. This is what we call as Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Console, or OCI homepage. And over here to the left side, you see this navigation icon. So click this guy. And then if you scroll down slowly, you see here developer services. So what I did, I'm in OCI console homepage, click this hamburger icon. And then if you scroll down in the left navigation menu, you see developer services. So click this developer services. Under developer services, you see Apex application development or Apex instances. So click this guy, Apex application development. And that takes you to page where you can create an Apex service. In my case, it has already selected the compartment, but for those of you who are just getting started, you might have to select your compartment here. Now let's go back to the instructions and see where are we. So we went to the navigation menu, and please do remember any of these icon images that you see here on this particular hands-on lab guide, there is a magnifier icon, plus icon. Clicking this one would actually magnify the image for you. Okay, so this is the tip. So scroll down once again and see. So we went to the navigation menu in OCI console, navigated to developer services, clicked Apex instances, and then in the next step, in step 4, you select a compartment and click create Apex service. Make sure you enable always free option, and make sure you select 19C for the database version. For some of the regions, it might show up other database version also, but please do remember the default should be accepted, which is 19C. So don't make any alterations to this. And enter a password for the admin and click create Apex service. While this is a suggestion, this is not mandatory to use the same password, but please do remember that this password is going to be used across the hands-on lab. So there might be places where you need to enter the username and password to sign into your Apex application, or maybe run a page, whatever. So in those cases, you will be needing this password. You will also be needing this password when you're creating an Apex workspace. So make sure you have the one which you can remember easily, or make a note of it on your notepad. It's safe to just go with what we have here so that it's easy, even if you forget. Password and confirm password, and then click create Apex service. Once you click creating Apex service, then you see something called the state change from state shows you provisioning, and in 2 minutes or sometime later it will show you available. Once it is available, you need to click launch Apex. So we will come to this right now. So I'm demonstrate this. I have one Apex service already which was existing. I have terminated that. So I'm clicking create Apex service and scroll down a bit. Make sure that always free is turned on. Choose the database version, which is 19C, which is the default, not changing that. And for admin credentials, let me enter some credentials. And then scroll down a bit and just click create Apex service. So now it shows provisioning, and a minute or two it shows available to me. Let me just go back if there are any questions so far. Don't see any questions. Hoping that everyone is proceeding fine with this. And the next step is click Launch Apex. You don't need to bother about more actions and then stop all these things. Just click Launch Apex. And then you enter the username, so the password, and click Sign into Administration. So basically, once you launch Apex service, it navigates you to the Apex instance administration page. And then the task for you is to create your workspace. A workspace basically is a private area in your Oracle database for you to build your Apex applications, which includes schema, a database schema, right? For you to build your database objects and the supporting objects, the underlying database objects for you to build your Apex applications. So then you click Create Workspace. Then you enter the database username, password. You remember the same password which you have already used. It automatically picks up the database username as the workspace name. And then click Create Workspace. Once you have the workspace available, once the workspace is created, you just need to click the name of the workspace so you directly navigate it to the workspace login page. And again, you need to enter the same password. So you now will be in your Apex workspace. So let's do that. So this is still shows provisioning. So it just will, yeah, it's done. So it's available now. If you don't see it is available yet, even after 2 to 3 minutes, just refresh your page or reload. It shows available for you. Might be some times browser issues. By the way, I highly recommend to use Firefox or Chrome. Maybe Safari also would do. But the recommended browsers for the workshop are Firefox and Chrome. So click Launch Apex. And that now should navigate me to the Apex instance administration page, where I will sign in and I will create an Apex workspace. Still taking time for me. Just go back and check if there are any questions so far. I don't see any questions yet. It looks like everything is going well. If anyone is stuck at this point of time, please feel free to let my team know so that they can help you. All right. So Apex administration services. So let's go and enter the password here. Click Sign into Administration. Now click Create Workspace. A workspace is a private area for you to share work area where multiple developers can build apps. Click Workspace. And I think I'll use APAC OUC. And I will enter. See, it picked up the same workspace name, and I enter my password again and click Create Workspace. So the workspace is now being created. Once the workspace is available, I can just click this guy here. And then again, I enter my password. I would prefer to remember my workspace and username. It's optional. So click Sign in. And then here, I'm in my Apex workspace right now, APAC OUC, and I'm ready to build my application. And now comes here to verify the Apex version. Once you are in your Apex workspace homepage, or maybe even in your Apex instance administration, if you scroll down to the bottom right side, you see Application Express and then the version name. So this is the version. For example, in my case, 21.17. So it's still 21.1. So the free tile in my region is not updated yet, is not upgraded yet. But it might be the case if you are using Singapore, Osaka, and Dubai, and maybe other region that I don't know of. You might have 21.2 here. So just carefully follow the instructions in the hands-on lab guide. All the instructions in the hands-on lab guide as well as the screenshots are taken on 21.2 only, right? So what we are showing today, what I am doing today is a little older version, which is 21.1, because my environment is the same and pretty much most of the free tiles are not upgraded yet. Okay, so let's go back to the instructions. So right now you have your environment available and ready. And for those of you who are using Apex workspace, apex.oracle.com, please use option 3, that's fine. Now, let's go to lab 1 to start with. You need to just click this plus guy and expand this, and you see the bunch of the tasks underneath each lab. There are actually 4 labs altogether in this workshop. I don't know how many we will be able to complete in the next 52 minutes. We'll try to do as much as possible, but it's not a problem because the environment is available, the lab guide is with you, you can complete the rest of the things on your own. So let's see how we can, what much we can do. Expanding lab 1 and clicking this guy, installing sample maps application. Well, so here you do 2 things. One is actually 3 things. You will be installing the application, you will be loading data, you will be exploring the sample maps application, and finally in task 4 you'll explore the demo data as well. Okay, so as mentioned here, if you're performing this workshop with Apex 21.1, then please expect occasional small differences in the user interface. There are very minute differences even with 1 or 2 instructions in the lab guide also, which I will notify you. If you are stuck at any point of time, please ping my in the chat window, and my colleagues also will proactively help you with those differences. So I will expand all tasks and going ahead with the first one. Task 1 is installing the application. Begin by clicking the app builder, and then you click install a starter or sample app here. If you're already using a cloud account, if you are already having an Apex workspace on apex.oracle.com or maybe somewhere else, you will directly go ahead and click create because you don't see this here. And then in the next step, you click samples. See here, oh sorry. You click samples, which is in step 3. And in step 4, you scroll down to sample maps and click download app. Let's perform until this. So I'm in Apex interface now, and I see app builder, SQL workshop, team development and gallery. Click app builder and click install a starter or sample app. Just click this guy and I click samples. This navigates me to an apex.oracle.com page. Okay, and I see here different sample applications. So I need to click sample maps, for example. So this is the one, and that navigates me to the GitHub page. You see here I have a GitHub URL, and then this navigates me to the GitHub page. Okay, however, I think we need to slightly alter this. This is for 21.2, so we need to slightly alter this for 21.1. So for those of you who are running Apex 21.1 with me, so I would just change this to 21.1. Oops. Okay. So you see here the URL that I have slightly modified is to 21.1 now. And you see here the sample maps zip, the airports -full.json, sample maps.sql, and states -full.json. So you might want to just use this for 21.1. Let me just paste this. Yeah, thank you, Apurva, for pasting that. And there's an alternative way of doing it. Like you can just go to this particular GitHub page directly on apex.oracle.com and you click view on GitHub. Okay, this is an alternative approach, view on GitHub. And you see here Apex apps and plugins. You might want to try this also just in case if you're not getting in directly. So go here, and then the next thing that you do is, right now for those of you who already have 21.2, please use this as is. There is no change. Just scroll down, navigate to sample maps, click download app. Okay, for those of you who are on 21.1 like me, just in the select list, make sure you choose 21.1. That gets refreshed. Okay, so this gets refreshed, and then here you see sample maps, and then now you click download app. Clicking download app would actually download directly that particular zip file for me. Okay, so I think that should pretty much take care, and I'm not sure if we can share the files in the chat window. I request my team to check on that just in case if someone is finding it difficult. Can you please pass on the maps.zip file as well as the two JSON files in the chat window? I think I see this in an attachment. Maybe let me do that. I can do that. Okay. So I would share these files with you guys. Oh, so Richard has done that already. Yeah, that would be nice. Thank you. Okay, so coming back, so this is a slight adjustment just because we are running a slightly older version on cloud yet, and who knows, someone is lucky already to have the 21.2. It's all good. Okay, so now I already have those files with me, and what I will do in the next step is I will go ahead and then install my application. So let's go back to the. So now in step 5, you return to your app builder, browser tab, click import. And in step 6, you can either drag and drop the sample maps application zip file. Make sure you do the exact file for your version, because you would run into version compatibility issues if you are using a 21.2 on 21.1, please. So make sure you thoroughly download the file which corresponds to your version. The ones which my colleagues have passed down to you in the chat window corresponds to 21.1 only, which I am demonstrating to you today. So I repeat, you need to be very careful with that. You need to click view on GitHub. And if you are in 21.2, choose the 21.2 files. If you are in 21.1, choose the 21.1 files, please. Otherwise, you will run into compatibility issues. Okay, so I don't think so. I need to do this. Okay, so just need to drag and drop, and the file import is confirmed. You click next again, and then you leave the default menu selections and click install application, and then click next to validate system compatibility. So this might actually show you compatibility issues just in case if you are using a wrong file or a wrong version. So once the compatibility is confirmed, then you click install and you click run application. Basically, these screenshots are of 21.2, but I will be demonstrating in my browser as well. So what I do, I just go to my app builder again, because I already have the files available. I now click import. Either I can drag and drop, or I will simply click the plus icon and install the zip file. Click next. Okay, the export file has been imported successfully. Click next. Okay, scroll down a bit and then click install application. The application is being installed. And then so it will also install the seed data to some extent. We'll see what to do with loading the data later. Click next. Okay, click next and click install. The validations have been successfully done, or they're validated, and then we are installing the supporting objects as well, and the application in objects have been installed. So next step, you're now in the sample maps application, so you just need to run this. Let's run this and see how it looks like. Click run application. Okay, back OUC, click sign in, and you would see this particular home page of the sample maps application. Clicking the hamburger icon, again, you'll have a bunch of examples to review. I would recommend you to go through them later on, but let us just go ahead with what we have in the lab today. All right. So the next task for us is loading data. So now that you have the sample application, however, you need to click the data loading link so that you would get the complete loading of the demo data. What you now have as a limited data set, but for you to perform the rest of the hands-on lab instructions, you need to load the entire data. So click on the data loading link and you will navigate to your page where you complete loading of demo data. So what I do here, data loading on the home page, click data loading. So to install airports and US states data, click data loading. And on this page, you see states data and airports data. There are two different options, but I think most of the cases directly from GitHub will not work. At least with the instructions, there might be some proxy issues or something like that. I don't know, but I don't recommend this at this point. I would recommend you to use upload files. The two files we have already provided in the chat window for you guys, or else you can directly go to the GitHub page and download them by yourself. Okay. So now what you do here is, wait a minute. Next step, the data loading page shows the loading status of the airports and datasets and states and airport datasets. And now, if your Apex instance does not require a proxy to the GitHub, you can use it. Or if you're using apex.oracle.com, you can straight away use that. Or else you need to click on the bottom, load directly. Sorry, in that case, you need to just click on the directly from GitHub and then click load dataset at the top right. If your Apex instance requires a proxy to access GitHub, for example, if you're running behind a corporate firewall, or if you have other issues with loading directly, when I have the same case, like I cannot load it directly from GitHub, then you click the button upload files, which provides alternate instructions. So I am choosing this one, which is upload files. Okay, so I will be choosing this, and I already have the sample datasets. So you can also download from this particular location. Once you have the two JSON files available with you, let me just check. I think my colleagues have already shared them with you. States-full.json and the other one, both of them should be there. If not, you can just go to this particular URL and download those two files. One is US data and airports data. I have both of them available. So what I'll do is clicking the US data, and this is states-full.json, and then click this guy again, and here I will be uploading the airports-full.json. Both these two files are available for me now, and then now I think I can click upload files. Right, let's see. So in that case, what you do is that you click the button upload files, which provides alternate instructions. We have done the same thing, and then let me just click upload files. Then click load datasets. Sorry, it's not upload files. Once you have the files loaded, click load dataset. That loads the complete data into your tables. The loading is happening behind the scenes. Okay, data is loaded, complete data is loaded for you now. So I didn't go through directly from GitHub. I use an alternative upload files approach. When the data loading is complete, you will see a notification at the top right, which we see here, data loaded. Okay, and then now you're ready to use. So this completes task 2. Then let's go to task 3 in this lab. You now need to export the sample maps application. Click on map and report. Let's click that. Just go here, click map and report. Okay, so now you see a map along the report here on this page. And then you can click any one of them and see the corresponding changes being reflected. For example, click this one and you see this, and click this guy, you see the changes, and you just click this one, for example, in the report, and John F. Kennedy International, it displays that particular airport for you on the page. So this is a simple example to explore. You can explore that later on. Now click items in the navigation panel to access other pages in the application, and then you can close the navigation panel back. So you just want to explore these pages one by one. For example, you can just check nearest neighbor search. You can also click the faster search, like how you can use your Apex native maps with faster search component side by side. You can also have the faster search report running on the right side, and you can also have other sorts of customization for your maps as well. Change the markers and other things. So please have a look at this later on at your leisure time. But now let's just click this guy and let's go to the next task. The next task is task 4 in the lab, which is exploring the demo data. Now you return to Apex, click SQL Workshop, and then Object Browser. So on your page here, on your maps page here, you just go to Home, click directly Home from the developer toolbar. And then you go to SQL Workshop. And then you click Object Browser. Okay, so you're in Object Browser now. And now you observe the tables, and especially on EBA sample map airports. So let's click this one. And click data. If you would have not loaded the data, the JSON files, you see this empty. Okay, so you should definitely have the data loaded for you to review and perform the rest of the steps in the hands-on lab. So please do not omit that step. And then here you see the columns include a column named geometry. Let's go here, and then you see here table. And then if you scroll down here, there is a geometry column, right? Which helps you with the map visualization component in Apex. And this is of the type SDO geometry. This is spatial geometry type for you, which you are using in your workshop today, in your Apex application today. And you click on the data tab to view the table contents. Let's click this. And then you see the data pertaining to these things. For example, it shows point ordinates. And then let's come here. This is what you see. And then you also do the similar thing with the simple states, map states, and then you also review the SDO geometry there. Let's go here, sample states, and you also see here the data, and you just click table, and you see one more geometry column here, and then you click the data, you see the similar geometry objects for this one. And so there are also tables with MDRT. For example, if you see here, there are 3 tables created. These are the tables which are created to support spatial indexes. Now starting Apex 21.1, Apex also supports creating spatial indexes on the table. Now, how I don't want to you to try this out, but I just want to show you how to create that. Just go to a table, for example, indexes, and you see here a spatial index created already. If you just want to create one, just click create, and you see here a spatial option as well. So this is new in 21.1. Okay, so now you can run a basic spatial query, and the same you would be using in your Apex reports. So in step 8, you have a sample SQL. Just copy the sample SQL, which actually it shows the number of airports and land coverage over 1,000 acres, which are in 1,000 kilometers from Texas. That is what this SQL is all about. So let's run this and see what would be the result set. Okay. So just go to object browser, and where do you run this? You run this in SQL commands. Click this guy. Maybe the network issue, it's just a little bit slow. So click this one and enter your SQL query. So it shows querying the EBA sample map airports and sample states. It should be, it's a typo here. It's not simple, it's sample states. And then greater than 1,000 acres is the land covered, and in the Texas actually is the state. And let's click this and see, run. Something wrong with this. Wait a minute. Okay, just copy this guy. Clear. We'll kind of figure out what exactly we have done here. It's just not mandatory, just kind of an optional thing that we do. We'll try to see what where the query is wrong here. We will see that. What exactly is happening here? Okay, I see Texas and land cover greater than 1,000 is STO geometry. It should show you. It should return you 83. I'm wondering what's the problem here. Okay, query seems to be okay to me. Something wrong. By any chance is my free tier being upgraded? I don't know. Can someone confirm if the query runs fine, if there is any mistake in the query? I just tested this a couple of minutes ago. It was all running fine with me. Can someone locally test this and let me know if that's all good? Or else we can just go to the next step. I see something is happening here. I don't see, because I don't see an error as well, and I don't know. Just try this out. Go to Amber, and maybe I'll come back to SQL Workshop. And now let me see within the object browser what are the tables that it's using. It's using EBA sample map reports and sample states. Okay. See the data here. Do you see here? Shouldn't be an issue. EBA sample map states. Okay. Okay.
Chaitanya, it's working fine on apex.oracle.com.
So maybe I think there's something wrong with maybe upgrade issues or something wrong on my instance. If anyone is using cloud, maybe they can confirm it for me. But it's not a must because it's just want to show you how do you run a query and just a random query, because in the report, as long as it's working, that should be fine with us, or as long as it is running in apex.oracle.com. That's fine. I can ignore this for now. If anyone is getting the same error on your cloud instance, then you can try it out later. I'm just wondering if there is any technical glitch somewhere, but definitely the query is really completely perfect in my opinion. There is no issue. All right. So that completes lab 1 actually, and I can take like 2 minutes break, and then we can come to lab 2, which is create map with wizard. Okay, so I'll just take 2 minutes of break, and we will assemble in like 1.5 minutes, whatever. So I'll just go on mute for a minute with your permission. All right, I'm back. Like I was mentioning, the upgrade just completed. Looks like, should I say, I'm lucky, or I don't know how it works out. But yeah, let's go ahead and then try this out and then see how things work. So maybe the same thing would have happened to some of you guys, because if you see here, it was 21.1 a couple of minutes ago while I started my demo, and now I see 21.2. So now I have it on my free tier as well. So shall we try it out and see how it works? Should work. So there was an upgrade happening, I believe, when I was trying this out, and that's the reason why it was showing a weird can someone confirm you're seeing my screen? Because I just started sharing again.
Yes, Chaitanya, we're seeing your live labs.
Okay, great. So probably this would have happened to you, some of you guys also. And now you see 83. Thank God. So Now this is a live demonstration of me migrating from 21.1 to 21.2 as well, which is good. So at least the region that I'm using, I think the Hyderabad region is upgraded with 21.2 now. Okay. So now let's go back. We have 23 minutes left to do the rest of the hands-on lab. So let's focus on that. Now that I'm 21.2, still everything works fine for me. Just a minute. Okay. So now we'll go to lab 2. Which is creating map with a wizard. So far what we did is that we installed the sample maps application, and we just browsed through a couple of things in the sample maps app, and we also reviewed how to load data. We loaded the data, we uploaded the 2 JSON files. There was a slight confusion because of 21.1 and 21.2, but the surprising thing is that during the process of doing this workshop, it is upgraded to 21.2. So I think pretty much it's all good now. So it would have happened to you as well. So just in case if you're encountering any errors, please consider that as an upgrade error, or your free tier is being upgraded at the moment. All right. Expand all tasks in lab 2, where we have like 2 tasks here in creating map with wizard. So map is the native component to Apex starting 21.1. So now what we do in this lab is we'll create an application, a new application, and then we'll create a map page. So steps 1, 2, and 3 would show you how do you create a new application. You click create, then you create new application, enter a name for your application, and you click add page and select map. Let's go do this. So let's go to app builder and we click create, and you click new application, and we see APAC or you see maps or whatever, right? And then we click add page, right? So here just click add page, and then you see here map is one of the page types. So click map, and then let's proceed with the instructions. So the next instructions, which is step 5, asks you to enter the page name as airports map, and then you will click the icon and select the EBA sample map airports table, and for geometry column you select geometry, and then select a column to use a tooltip. All right, so what we do is give a name to the page name and EBA sample map airports. Click this one, EBA sample map airports. You see here there are different types of geometry objects that you can use, which we discussed in the slide deck. So you need to select a geometry column in SDO geometry, which is here geometry column. This is an SDO geometry type. Click this guy, and then for tooltip, I think we can choose the city name, right? So that is something which would actually maybe airport name, as they show in the system, airport name. So this is when you hover over the particular tooltip, it shows you the airport name basically. And then you create a page and click create application. So add page, and then you click create application. Now you run application and sign in using the username and password. So run the application, and the password for this, sign in. That shows airports map. Click airports map. And now you see the airports map page, which is native to Apex. So the background map here comes from the Oracle eLocation service. So this is what you see as a map here. And then let's proceed with the next step. So here you complete this, and then your page includes interactive map showing airport location with tooltips. So let's go here, and then you hover over anything. It shows you the name of the airport here, basically. You remember we have chosen for tooltip the name of the airport. See here, and then here, so it's all across North America, basically. Then task 2 is inspect the map page. So in the developer toolbar, click on page 2 to edit the page, and you under body click airports map. So here click page 2. That navigates you to the page designer where you can edit the map, and underneath the map you have layers, which is actually what you see here. Layer as the airports map. So you click airports map under body, and this is the title of the map region, what you see here, created by the create page wizard. So it's the same as the page title, and it can also be changed if you want. And here, if you see here, this particular airports map is of map type. This is the component. And then in step 3, what you do is, we just understood that there are different types of layers that can be created, like points, lines, and polygons and other stuff. So, which is displayed as on top of a background map. So what you do in this case is you need to also inspect a couple of other things, like for example, configuration details in the layer panel, etc. So click the layers, for example, airports map, it shows, and the layer type is a point type. If you click this one and maybe click the help, you will see different types of layers and what exactly would these be. In our example, we have just selected only points. Okay. And airport maps also has attributes, so where you can make some couple of other changes, like you can also have a mouse wheel zoom, scale bar, and all this stuff. And you can also have certain other advanced attributes also. You can also have your custom SVG styles and other things set out. So this is all about the maps and the layers. So let's go back. See here. And then you need to also verify the SDO geometry type. So let's go here and then click this guy, and then you scroll down here. You see the geometry column name, as well as if the data type is of SDO geometry, is that native Oracle Spatial native data type. Okay, so that's about reviewing, create map wizard, and inspecting the map page. Completed lab 2 here. Let me just quickly go over and see if there are any questions. I don't see any questions. It's all good. Okay, let's proceed, because this is a simple one where you just use the create page wizard and then you have inspected the map. The next one is create map from scratch, which is lab 3. So we have 3 tasks here where you create a new page, you add a map to the page, and then you add a layer to the map. So far in this workshop, what have you done? You've installed the sample maps sample application. You reviewed the application. You reviewed the different types of maps that you can create, and you also reviewed, like you can have different types of geometric objects. And then in the next step, you created an application and you started creating a map page using the create page wizard, and you also observed various settings and the geometry column that has been used, and also the attributes that you can change, and also the layer types that you can and you can also the way you can customize all those things under the map configurations. So now the next one is you will create a new page, but in this case, you're going to create a region and perform certain tasks. Three things are there. One is creating a new page, add a map to the page, basically adding a map region, adding a layer to the map. So this would be a little more interesting to us. So first thing is that in the breadcrumbs at the top left, click on the link for your application home, click on the layout tab, and then you click on create page. Basically, you need to come here, or you can maybe just do here, go here, and then you can see the plus icon here. Click page, that creates a page. Alternatively, what you can do is that go to your application home page, and then you click create page. Okay, now here you're going to create a blank page. Basically, on top of the blank page, you're going to create a map region. So here you could select map though, but this is not what we want. We already covered that, right? So we already covered how to create a map using the create page wizard. We're slightly doing it, we're doing it a little differently right now. So create a blank page, and then you enter a name for that, and then you click next. So here, clicking blank page, and then just click name, and click next, and okay, so do we need to have a navigation menu entry? Yes, a new navigation menu entry, and click next, and then I guess click finish. Now the blank page is available, so you will be now creating a maps region on top of this. Let's see. So that completes task 1. Okay, we created a blank page. Now what is the task 2? Task 2 is adding a map to the page. A map region, a map can be created as a page, or region can be attached to a page, what we see here. And on the same page, you can have map region, and side by side you have a faceted search page. So you can have multiple types of customization as you desire. There is you can just tweak out in the page designer. You can just drag and drop regions of your choice and use them, but make sure that you try out everything. But some of the regions might not be compatible or may not be possible to use them. But most of the things should be there as is. So here, if you have, for example, in this case, add map to your page, you just drag map from the regions palette here under the gallery, and then that should display under the body section of the page layout. Let's see. So here, this is the page designer, and then I have regions here, and where is the map? Here is a map. So now I should have it into the body. Okay. So I have a map region now in there, and then I choose it and name it as my map region. And then in the next step, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a layer basically. And so what I do is just go here, and then I update this region, sorry, my map region. Okay, so that's done. And then the next thing is that you have the new layer. Okay, this layer, let's update this to airports and the type to points. So go here, and this is new. Let's change this to airports, and the layer type is points, which is fine. Now next we need to give the table name for this. So we need to select that. Okay, observe the layer name update here, and then scroll down, and you use update the source to use the table EBA sample map airports. So what we do here, if you see here, there is an indication for us that it needs a table name. So here is the local type, and the source is a table, a local database. You can also have REST enabled SQL, REST source, and region source. So we're not using all those things. We're just happy with the local database. And what's the name of the database? Sample map airports. Sample map airports. Okay, the table name is picked up. And then let's see what else we can do. Scroll down, and you see to the right in the column mapping section. This is where you configure the SDO geometry and geometry column geometry. Okay, scroll down here. Now that you have the table name, Okay, so you need to do the column mapping here. What type of column data type should we use? We should use a column of data type is geometry. And you know which column is it in the table, and that column is a geometry column. So let's select that. So I think pretty much we are good with the layer, and you can scroll down in the layer properties and you have the info window section. This is where you can configure the content of an info window. So just scroll down to info window, scroll down a bit, info window, turn on advanced formatting, and you need to give an HTML expression. This might be, I think, slightly different for 21.1 if I'm not wrong, maybe. So for those of you who are using 21.1, please do check if you have this, otherwise you can ignore that particular step. Okay, step 7 depends. So HTML expression, okay, and then you save the page, save the changes for now. Save the changes. The next thing is for us to add one more layer. So task 3 is add a layer to the map. So now what you do here, right click on layers and click select create layer. Right click on layers, click create layer. Okay, so now newly created layer under your map region. So this is the layer details panel. So change it to states, layer type to polygons, states, and layer type instead of points, it can be polygons, and source to EBA sample map simple states. Scroll down just like at the above, table name, but here instead of that it's simple states. Okay, so it's all good. And then now layers will be rendered. So same thing, just like above, you need to also select NSDO geometry column. So scroll down here and the column mapping, geometry column of data type, and then you select geometry for the geometry column. Okay. Okay, so there are a couple of other things that I have done here. So layers will be rendered in order they appear under layers in the page tree. So we want to have airports render on top states. So you need to drag the states layer above the airports layer. So let's do that. So here it is. So first is the states and second one is the airports. That's how the order should be. And then for appearance for this particular layer, you select a fill and stroke, and you can choose color of your choice. Scroll here and then scroll down to appearance. And let's see, so choosing a color scheme, maybe we don't need to do that. Just fill a color, click this guy for example, and then you just randomly pick something, and maybe this one for example, this one. Okay, and let's expand this. Okay, so then scroll down a bit, and for tooltip, let's select a column. Let's put this as name of the state. Okay, this is something which you want to do. Now save and run button, click save and run button. Let's click save and run to see how it looks like. So it should render 2 layers for you on your map, and you should be able to select them. You should be able to click the checkbox and select the layer of your choice, or also you can have both of them displayed together on the map for you. This is happening. Let's go back to the instructions. You have the state and airport layers, and you can just play around with this, and it's still working for us. I'm hoping the upgrade is complete, and it's just taking so much time for us. So okay, so this should come up for you, and this is how you would actually create, and this is how the map should look like for you, pretty much. And basically you'll have two layers here. One is the states as well as the airports, and this actually means that you completed your first map from scratch, and then the next one is in the lab. The next lab you will be, yeah, here it is, finally done. Okay, so I see here the maps with the two layers created. Hover over one thing that shows the info window for you, like this here, like this here. You can also play around, and you can just choose toggle between these layers, and you can just choose just the states here. Let's click this guy. So this is how basically, because of the customization that I have made, you see the fill capacity and other things. And I can just have airports as well, just clicking states, unchecking states. I just have airports, and if you want to have both, I can have both. Now if I hover over here, I just click this one to understand how it looks like. So that's pretty much with that particular lab, and we have 2 minutes left, so I don't think so we'll be able to cover the last part, which is the spatial analysis. I would like to quickly go over that, and then we'll conclude the hands-on lab. So lab 4 is the last one, which I think you can carry it and you can perform on your own. So far we have done 3 different tasks in this particular 3 different labs in this workshop. We installed the sample maps application, and before that actually we started with Apex service. We have provisioned an Apex service in your OCI account, which can stay free forever for you. You can perform, you can build your Apex applications on a simple low cost all-inclusive service, and then created an Apex workspace. You install a sample maps application. Within the sample maps application, you have loaded data, and you explore the sample maps application in detail. We also explore the demo data there. There was a small technical glitch later on, where we created a new map with a new map using the wizard. And after loading data here, actually, basically the upgrade happened. And then later on, we concluded that it's 21.2, and it was running fine later on. And you could see 83 rows being displayed. So the next step here is that we created a map with wizard. We understood that map is a native component in Apex now. And so you created that, and finally you created map from scratch. And then the last part is incorporating spatial analysis, which I think you can do on your own. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me and my team at a later point of time. You can also reach out through APAC OUC. So that's pretty much from my end, and thank you so much for this great opportunity today, and I wish you a happy rest of the day and enjoy your sessions.
Yeah. Thank you, Chaitanya. Thanks, Roopesh and Apurva as well, so for providing the nice session on the maps and spatial. So thank you everyone for your participation today, and please do not forget to register for another great session, and please enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you everyone.